to Athletics LLC with Lamar, Lucious, Big League Chew, and my man Clyde. You're about to be schooled in all things track and field. This is experience.
Yes, sir.
We are talking past, present, future. Y'all listen up. Let's go.
Hi, everyone. Different backgrounds, different time of day. Don't get mad if we get mixed up because we're throwing everybody's equilibrium off this week. So welcome to another fun episode of Athletics LLC. Big League Chew here, of course. Clyde, how are you today, sir?
It is in the middle of the afternoon on a Tuesday. So I'm good, but I'm a little confused.
Right.
You got the club going up?
I was just going to say that. I was just going to say that. That sucks. Sir Lucious, how are you today, sir?
I am rolling, you know. It's been a good last couple of weeks for the Gators, so I'm great.
I don't think anybody would disagree with that statement.
Lucious getting ready to board that Emirates first class King flight to wherever.
Oh my Gina. See, and he's only just smiling. So yes, move on. Birmingham Lamar, how are you, sir?
I'm just taking it all in. You know, it's rare that a decathlete does 2 decathlons in 9 days. It's even more rare when they're on 2 different continents. So we're just gonna roll with that, and I'm gonna go get this dub.
Big League froze.
Big League froze. So we
What?
have.
Oh, she's back now.
Okay. Oh man, you know that TCU bandwidth is limited.
Shots fired.
Just kidding. I haven't gotten my first paycheck yet, so we've got a new tile, not one that isn't familiar with the show though. So the Mayor Smith, no pun intended, pun completely intended. Mr. Darrell, how are you today, sir?
I'm good. Happy to be there. Be here.
Good. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Seriously, though.
Yeah, no,
You know.
thanks for having me. I like the show. It's gonna be fun. I know these crazy folks. So yeah,
Right.
Hank, hold on to your seat, Big League.
Oh man. Well, see, and here we go, right? Full disclosure, I'm in the office, so that means I'm on physio ball, and I've already almost fallen twice today. So maybe 3 times a charm. We'll see. Anyhow, all right. Well, let's jump off the show. We had some great questions that were posed to us over the last few weeks via the audience on our YouTube channel. So we're going to ask some of those questions and then just get some opinions about some things. So first, so the conversation over the last few weeks have been the NCAA athletes are going to be too tired. They're not going to show up, this, that, and the third, all negative. And we saw that did not happen for the most notables, right? There are some who did crash and some more that didn't. So how do we, meaning you all, as coaches, ensure that athletes are able to compete at the highest level in the months of June and July?
I'll go first.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of planning, proper planning. Just from my experience in talking to other coaches that have experienced issues with this, there just seems to be this thought that we've been through a long season. I need to get my athletes back in shape. I'm not sure how you lose your conditioning or your shape coming off a major championship where you were just phenomenal or even good, right? And I think that's a mistake. People start trying to add too much to the equation and they end up overloading people. I think that's the biggest issue I see. They just do too much, as the kid would say. You're doing too much. Or doing the most, right? That's the statement. You're doing the most right now.
I appreciate you for stealing both my catchphrases right there, because that's all I was going to ultimately say is yes, people doing too much. I've literally heard tale of people quote unquote going back to base, quote unquote, quote unquote, what was the other one? Going back to base. And then the other term that somebody said to me one time was reset from the beginning. And I said, what does that mean? Like, it's just a couple weeks away. Like, what are we talking about here? I think a lot of people try to get cute and screw up the whole, you know, things that they ultimately don't understand, right? Like peaking and stuff like that. And if you have coaches who maybe they're, you know, diving into that arena for the first time, or crumbling under the pressure of what could come to them or their athletes if this thing goes well, they just start overthinking it and doing too many things. I've witnessed it firsthand, and it's really bad and ugly to watch, but it obviously is able to be done correctly. Lucious has done it correctly, and a whole handful of people have gotten it right over the years. I'm less interested in how the conversation about how to get it done, and you know me, I get to take the petty angle. Like, I'd like to spend a moment and be like, where are all these people that swore it was going to crash and burn? Because if you take the NCAA related folks out of USAs and out of the World Championships, our team looks really different and really bad in most instances. So, you know, I hope that this year's progress and this year's success would put an end to a lot of that ridiculous narrative.
Well, obviously I agree with both of those takes. So I will only try to add, and I will say that using a cliche, if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. Okay. So if you have to know your personnel, right? They always say you got to know your horse. If you are coaching an athletes that if you do your job and they do their job, they will be at USAs and possibly make the team, right? If that's the possibility, then that should be part of your master plan for the year, right? Like the training that you write shouldn't end June 14th or whatever the date of NCAA's is, right? Because that doesn't make any sense. But it is amazing how often that happens. And so like that, I think, is a big part, right? Because you can't just pick it up on the fly. Like that's a problem. Because that's when you put in, more sugar and more milk, thinking it's going to make a better cake, and it definitely doesn't. But what I will also say is also part of knowing your horse. Understand that just because your student athlete has the possibility, or if you're successful, does make it through the USA's gauntlet and makes it to the championship. Let's be clear, very, very rarely is that athlete's goal for the year to make the final at World Championships or the Olympics or win a medal, right? Like, some of what you're doing is trying to get them there for the experience, to be able to build off of the following year, right? I mean, there not very many athletes start the collegiate season and are expected to win a medal, right? I mean, we can probably name that group. It's not a large group of people historically. But I definitely think that people tend to mess that up. Clyde alluded to it. It's like when they get closer to USAs and they see what the landscape really is, they're like, yo, we can make this team. Yo, if we make this team, we can win a medal. Yo, if we do this, there could be a 6-figure contract. They start thinking along those lines. And it's like, listen, it's like dominoes. All money ain't good money. And if you're chasing money, you're almost certainly got it all wrong in the first place, right? And I think sometimes it's funny because Alan said this in year one, but I can't get away from it. We're trying to prepare young people for careers, not a contract, right? And so like each one of these things has to be building blocks of uninjured, stackable training and success. So the more times you mess that up, the more rewrites you end up having to do, the faster careers get derailed. And I'm not going to go through this, but I mean, we all can name 50 careers that have been derailed just in that part alone. So for me, I think one of the, in addition to what my two cohorts have said, I think one of the biggest things that you have to do is from the beginning, know your horse. Like assume success. When you're planning for the season, assume that you're going to do it right and they're going to do it right. And what would that bring? You know, it always kills me how people in the field events don't know what world championship or Olympic standards are. That blows my mind. Like I've been to so many meets in years where the world championship standard in the high jump is 231 and watch people jump at 230. And I'm just like, I don't understand this. Like you've got to meet one, you can set the bar wherever you want to. I don't get why you're jumping at this bar, but it's because you don't know. And then I look like a jackass if I go over and tell you. So I'm not going to. Well, because you know how that goes. You know how that goes. If you go to tell a coach, like, you probably don't want to jump at 230. The standard's 231. I know what I'm doing. Like, okay, see, that's why I didn't say anything.
I think to build on the conversation, I got a couple of different tacks, but one of them, I think Lamar nailed it on. If you fail to plan, I had an athlete that I won't name because that's a whole nother conversation. But anyway, he literally asked me during his early on in his season if we could prepare for Worlds. And I was like, of course. Now, due to circumstances out of his control, he never got a chance at that. But that was our plan the whole season. So we've been going through NCs. We already knew walking in the door what that was going to be. And I think there's also an element of track and field that gets lost sometimes when people start to try to be too smart or the expert. And at the end of the day, this is track. It's literally the same sport you were running when you were 8. I sat around one day, you know, I had the privilege of knowing a lot of really, really good track athletes. And I used to ask them questions, crazy questions. I asked Kevin Young way back when, after the 92 Olympics, and he came back to fall practice. And I asked him, I said, do you ever think about the fact that no one ever in life has run faster than you? And then I asked him, of course, his answer was no. But then I asked him about what it was like to run at an Olympic Games when it's 100,000 people. And he said to me, he said, in 88, he said, I noticed. He said, but by 92, he said, T, it was just another track meet. And that stuck with me because at the end of the day, when, for example, Lamar is out there in 2000 fighting for his medal, it's just a decathlon. You were running and you were jumping. And I think a lot of people, and we all know them, you start talking to coaches, and like Clyde said, I gotta go back to base. You gotta go back to base. That person can do what they can do thanks to their genetics. Your job is to stay the hell out of the way most of the time, especially when it gets to summer. You know, you start messing it up trying to be an expert. And I think a lot of people fall into that. I think a lot of coaches also fall into the actually thinking they found the secret workout. I love this one. This is the secret workout. I got the plan. You got the plan? Man, please, you need to go talk to somebody. I love talking to Lucious. Lucious been sitting around like, bro.
Hey, sometimes a secret workout is being conducted on the warm-up track.
I'm gonna tell you how the secret workout. I posted this earlier this year. I'm telling you how the secret workout because it's been told to me 1,000 times. We all got mentors. Everybody knows mine. When I do call him 9 times out of 10, and the 10th time was only because I told him, don't give me this answer. His answer is always the same when I have a dilemma. Rest. It says it every single one time I had to call him rest.
Best.
He said rest. He said, what'd you do? He said, rest him. Let him rest.
See, and I'm glad you said that because like when you look at what people do, right? So we have been training since September with collegiate athletes, right?
Yep.
And we go through the grinder, that's the indoor season, and we go through the outdoor season, and the answer is to return to base, right? See, I never understood that. Like, I never understood when somebody called me, is like, hey, you know, I'm gonna have, like, this is the Monday after the NCAA prelim, that early. We're gonna do 3x500 today. I'm like, well, I ain't gotta worry about you. See, I'm like your uncle. Let them rest. They just came off of 2 very grueling days of competition where they mentally and physically were just destroyed. And then you travel there, you travel back, and you're gonna put them on the track and make them do 500s. You know, after, you know, the world championship trials, you know, you have an athlete go there and run well, and you think, okay, now I got to get them back in shape. Well, they just ran really well.
Yep.
And, you know, that's like, there is a mental and physical grind to a long collegiate season. But if you look at the majority of the collegians handled that pretty well this year. I don't think, did any of the collegians actually medal in an open event this year? I don't think so. But I think they handled themselves pretty well, though, you know? And I think that them being at least the level or close to it that they were at the NCAA championships, you know, I think you spoke to something that I think was critical. Like, I'll just take a couple of mine. I think Champion Allison wasn't accustomed to the big crowd in Eugene, right? He'd been there twice. It wasn't that full. Contrary to popular belief, Clyde, it was pretty full there, wasn't it? And then even if you go back to Arion, like, that's the biggest crowd he's ever been in front of.
Right, because he came in on COVID.
Exactly, because when you were in Tokyo, there was nobody in the state.
Nobody.
Right?
Yeah.
So that was a great point by the mayor that, you know, that those things make a difference. You know, that first time, and I think, you know, I'm sorry, Lamar, I think you alluded to that too. Like, it's a preparation for the future, and people don't think about that. They don't talk about that. And the worst thing you can do is start. There's 2 things that are major issues for me: totally reconstructing your race model, or trying to get them in better shape. 2 horrible ideas. Horrible.
Governor, do you
Welcome,
have any
Governor.
input? I know, welcome. Hi.
The governor was busy arguing with, you know, his constituents, and now he's back.
Greetings from Cali. Yeah, it's been.
Oh, I forgot
Oh,
you're
that's
there.
where you are.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh, everybody snuck into my state. Huh?
That's my view.
No.
Yeah.
No, Columbia.
Columbia.
no, he's in Cali,
Oh,
Colombia.
Cali. Yeah. Hey, man, just make it home.
True
Yeah.
story. I'm booking the trip, and I send the details, and I said, hey, I need to get the meal money set up for this trip to Cali.
Oh, boy.
Well, why is there a question? You're going to California? No. I'm going to Cali, Colombia. So she goes and looks it up. She goes, the only thing I could find is Columbia, South Carolina. I'm like,
Oh,
no,
my
no.
God.
Look at the spelling. Like, this is COLO. Columbia? I'm like, yeah, I'm going out of the country. True story. Can't make it up. Good to see you, Mayor.
Yeah.
Good to see you, sir.
I feel like that's kind of a, you know, you kind of came in, just snuck in right underneath. Not quite governor.
That's kind of how it came to fruition right before you logged on.
100%.
That's good. Good stuff.
By the
We're
way,
quite
congratulations to us
international
again.
squad.
We got another 3-continent show.
That's right.
That's
right.
Oh, geez.
Well,
I'm
before
not like glitching all over the place. The internet's good. Everybody's
Yeah, no, you're good.
okay.
But before we transition off of this has been a connected issue in the ether of all of this. We talked about it a little bit before the championship, but now that the championship has been finished and has been wildly successful, can we circle back on the idea that the collegiate athletes should have to declare themselves pro to gain access to the
I want to
championship?
give any credence to that statement.
Yeah. Listen.
So that we can
Just
get
dead it, Clyde.
another rant.
Clyde,
No.
it's been brought to my attention that we have become somewhat distracted by the musings of the lesser, and we need to stop.
Ooh.
No,
we
no,
need-
no, stop that. They're not the lesser.
Look, you didn't
of
need
the
to out
other.
yourself.
Of
No,
the
I said what
other.
I said.
I
I
know.
said what I said.
I wasn't mad
I
at what
didn't
he
say You
said.
said that,
I wasn't mad
Oh,
at what he said.
gosh.
and I said what I meant to
See,
say.
why are you being extra petty today, sir?
You know,
Extra
it's
petty.
because I'm in
You see,
England,
first of all,
and I'm
let the record show that Clyde, you started this nonsense.
Yes.
As I
So,
do.
Captain Petty lobbed it up there, and then the Petty,
Now he has
you know,
a
I
Robin.
think
the next Petty
part
guy
of what-
jumped all over it.
part of what has happened is I'm here at the Commonwealth Games, right? And I've had this conversation a multitude of times with a couple of my Grenadian friends here, right? I'm confused why this meet is still, why this event, it's not a meet, it's like the mini Olympics, is still a thing. Because the Commonwealth, literally, these are the countries that were civilized and colonized by Great Britain. I just want y'all to understand, that's 3 continents worth. All of Australia, almost all of Africa, and 3/4 of Asia. Like, what? And we're still having this Olympic size competition. But anyway, so that's where I'm in my petty bag.
I mean,
But-
in its heyday, Commonwealth Games were the second largest game
Yes.
in the
Yes.
entire world. Like, that's insane. That's insane. Like the fact that the Queen is still on the dollar bill in Canada.
Yes.
Okay. Like, anyway.
So you get where I've been the whole time I've been here. Just like
Yes.
this.
If you
Okay,
really
so
want to be
Big League
petty,
King-
Lamar,
Big League
ask why
King.
we can't participate.
Okay, so
No, I just want to say
because we
one
didn't let
thing
them conquer us,
about
right?
what we were talking about. About what we were talking about, right? One thing I will look, we're truth sayers. One thing we would be remiss if we didn't at least acknowledge. Easier is not the right word, but the collegians in the American collegiate system were dealt a positive hand in that this is the earliest World Championships has ever been, right? Because Sir Lucious and I had this conversation. It would be a tougher ask if the meet was 2 weeks from now, right?
Because everybody got more time for base.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And,
I mean,
and
let's-
that's
from a mental and coaching standpoint.
Yes.
100%.
But not only that, but add in the
Yeah, go ahead.
fact that the professionals would have had more time to get into the
Yes.
swing of their season. Like
Mhm.
their athletes
so-
that came
And,
in,
you know, Governor, I hear you, but shame on you for saying that, and shame on them for not having it ready. Because see, I want to, and this goes out there to all the people that want to talk about the professional coaches and the college coaches aren't professional. Da, 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 da. Okay. First of all, I'm a damn professional. I get paid to coach track and field.
Right.
Second of all, for those who want to get up on their soapboxes and say, I'm a professional coach and I don't, like, then that's your job. So
Beat the
don't
kid.
come to me and talk about I needed 2 or 3 more weeks. You knew when the meet was 2 years ago.
right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
if you as a professional coach can't get your athletes ready in 2 years, then you're not very professional.
That's all. that's
Shame on you
all-
for saying
that's
that. I
all-
Yeah.
think, yeah.
That's all.
You know, like-
context.
All right, do I do it?
I'm
All right,
referring
I'm gonna do
to
it.
the season.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
That's all I'm
Exactly.
just saying is the
Exactly.
season is
Exactly.
literally
Yeah.
going to start next week.
Yeah.
Like, let's call it what it is.
I get that.
Like, the
I don't- but okay, but
Diamond
the-
League
okay.
season.
The Diamond League season starts next week. So
Yeah,
as a professional athlete,
right.
the goal is to
Preparation,
be
yes.
to win worlds and Olympics.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes.
At the end of your career, the more medals Allison Felix has,
Mhm.
right? That's what we talked about forever. Not about how many Diamond League titles she has.
Okay.
I mean,
Now, I know the Diamond League
I
gonna get
guess-
you a little bit more money. I get all that. But yeah.
The one thing is that, like I said, we would be remiss if we didn't at least acknowledge this, right? The meet being in early July and being on U.S. soil helped those who are least experienced at taking
Absolutely.
collegiate
I'm not
Yes.
disregarding that
tremendously.
statement at all.
And I'm not saying that we wouldn't have had the exact same turnout if the meet was 2 weeks from now, in Africa. I just know it would have been a
Okay.
more difficult coaching task.
I have a question because I know the mayor wants to jump all into this because he's about to fall out of his chair. Okay. So my question to you guys is this: the number of professional coaches on this continent, they got it wrong in 3 weeks.
I mean,
Hey.
absolutely.
Mm.
Absolutely.
Hey,
Okay. Because there was a lot more professional coaches got it wrong than collegiate coaches that got it wrong. So what
It's
do we
funny.
attribute that to?
We found out there's two sides to that
Because we're
coin,
gonna give
right?
those same coaches 3 more weeks.
We found out
Based on the
there's two
government
sides to that coin.
statement.
The collegiate coaches might struggle to go further in the season, and a great number of the professional coaches struggled with the 3-week window.
Absolutely.
I think, well, okay, so let's back it up though. My point on this that gets skipped over is that forget the professional versus collegiate. Let's just talk about seasons.
Yep.
And what came to show is it's not the 3 weeks, it's the 6 to 8 weeks prior to. The 6 to 8 weeks prior to, the collegiate athletes is raced 30 times. High level, you know, depending on your level where you're coming from, you're racing. Professional, and I agree with Sir Lucious, having done this for a long time, it is, you know, your job to get it done. But it is really hard in track and field when 1 year you're going to have 5 meets in May. The next year you're going to have 3. And then US championships, and then none, and then 3 weeks and worlds. And it was fun having it here, but it's hard when it's early because professional, truly professional athletes had less racing opportunities. And I get the call it the job, but that factors into a lot of it. And it throws some coaches off because they're used to having their 9 races headed into a major.
But isn't the key phrase there some? Because we have had this discussion a lot of times on this panel. Those who can do.
Yes.
The guys who can coach, the ladies who can coach, they figure it out and they get it done.
Absolutely.
But what about the athlete?
Well, okay, hold on a second. As the coach, that's my job. I have been browbeaten by Lamar a million times because whenever he hears me say, that was my fault, I need to coach he or she better. Right? So as the coach, it's my job to figure out what my athlete needs. And I know that you know this because you happen to be related to a guy that might be the best ever at figuring it out.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's my point. It's like, okay, the problem here is the skill set, the mindset of said coach or said athlete. But if you know, and I guess maybe I'm a planner, right? So if you give me a 12-month window to plan and figure something out, right? I'm gonna do it. Now I'm gonna take my guy for an example. Like Grant raced once before we went to the Worlds, and obviously he had the bye, right? So he raced in New York and he raced in at the trials.
Right.
But like we set things up in training, we set things up to model what we needed to get done. Right. And I know that you know this because the same guy that taught you helped teach me. Right. So all I'm saying is like we are very good at giving people passes. Okay. Do your job. Because I don't look, if we go to the NCAA meet and I'm 25th and 30th in the country, freaking 4 years in a row, they'll be called for my job.
Oh, and listen, that's really my issue because there's a whole lot of passes that are out right now.
Right. Exactly.
And you know, Lance Brahman got it done. Right? John Smith is in year 1 with Ty Lue. He was getting scorched in the internet world with how bad she looked all year, and then she showed up, made the final, and looked fantastic.
Look, I walked up to him and I grabbed him. I put my hand around his shoulder. I say, I want you to remember this day because I'm going to remind you a year from now that they were talking crap to you because they're going to regret it. He goes, you know they will.
Right. But there's a lot of others.
Yeah.
That are walking around wearing passes, a jacket of passes.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
See, and here's the thing too, like, okay, like for me, I just want everybody to be accountable for doing their job. Because there's a lot of these professional coaches that have these large groups of people that have 1 or 2 people running well. And I've had this discussion with agents and with shoe companies. You guys keep trying to recreate Santa Monica, and you keep trying to recreate HSI. Okay. When HSI came to attract me, and I know this because I'm not talking about what I heard, I'm talking about what I witnessed with my own eyes. Everybody got off the plane and got it done. Right? When Santa Monica was at their heyday, everybody got it done. So we have to quit giving people passes for having 1 or 2 people run well when they got 30 people in the group.
So I think that feeds back into your professional conversation about it, speaking specifically to those that are going to listen to this, the professionalism of it all.
Yes.
How can I put this cleanly without offending folks? Make better.
No, you can't. You can't.
You can't. I know.
No.
But make
So
better
you
try-
understand something?
if you
You're a
try,
professional.
We don't
I'll make it
concern
ever
ourselves
for
with
you.
that here.
I already know all you guys.
Yeah.
Make better decisions, not comfortable ones. And there's a lot of athletes that make comfortable decisions and you're suffering for it. And I'm talking to you. You're suffering for it. You didn't do your research. You called your friends. They told you about the coach that made them feel good, or the coach that had success with said athlete, et cetera, or the place that wasn't so expensive. That's a personal shot for me because there's been too many athletes over the decades didn't want to move to LA because they said it was too expensive. And professionally in their careers, they suffered for it. And it's not to say that moving to LA would have solved all their problems, but when something is, Lamar went to where he was going to be successful. Clyde literally transferred schools to be successful. The governor already know he chases success where he needed to go. And right now on the professional level, there's a lot of athletes that are complaining that you didn't want to leave home at all.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you wanted to live somewhere where you could stretch your dollar. And Lamar said it earlier on a different topic. Don't chase the money. You chase the success, you'll get paid. And I think that feeds into the conversation about the great conversation, what makes a professional track athlete. I mean, that's a hard answer, but that's part of it. That's a huge part of it. And, you know, some athletes are suffering for it right now because you didn't perform when it mattered the most. You didn't reach a contract. And when you didn't perform and said company that's cutting your check says, yeah, I'm cutting your check, you stuck.
I'm just,
you know what?
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so I wasn't gonna go here, but the unfortunate part is that you literally you dragged me here. I completely agree with what you're saying, but I have a problem with the other group, the group that didn't want to leave because they knew that what they had, where they had it, was what they needed to be successful, but the shoe company moved them.
I hear you.
And the shoe company moved them, and then it didn't work out. And everybody, shoe company, coach, everybody is just basically doing like this. That's your fault.
Mm-hmm.
Like you were supposed to make it work. And it's like, okay, but I didn't want to come here in the first place. Right. But they said, I make this much money if I stay, and I make this much money if I go. So that's not a choice.
Right.
Right. And the unfortunate part is like that group is cannon fodder that happens in our sport. They're casualties of war, so to speak. Like the sport is not professional, so it pays basically slave to the whims of the shoe companies. The shoe companies do what's in their best interest, and they move kids, they move young people to one of 3 places. And then when it doesn't work out, there's no accountability for them, right? At no point in time does the shoe company say, well, that's on us because we moved you and this situation isn't a good one.
Right.
They say, you're supposed to be a professional. You go with you don't get to play for the Denver Nuggets and live in North Carolina. So go do what you got to do. But this ain't a team sport. It's an individual sport. And when you compete individually.
Yeah.
So the thing that I will say this to every young athlete who's watching, or somebody who knows a young athlete who needs to hear this, make the decisions that are absolutely and positively in your heart and in your mind, the best decisions for you, not the comfortable ones. I agree with you completely, but make the best decisions, make an adult decision and do what you got to do. And look, if the shoe company that you're trying to sign with says you got to move to be successful, maybe that's not the shoe company you need to be with.
And I'll throw this in there and we can move on to something else. Because I think, well, I'll speak for myself. I'm offended by the notion that person X is not a quote professional coach because they have a actual salary from a university. I've been told that directly. I know people have said that about Sir Lucious. We talked about last week. Last I checked, Lucious had more athletes in the meet and spent more time coaching than anybody else, more than a few combined. And I'm like, so let me get this straight. I get paid to coach athletes, but I'm not a professional. And you professional people get paid differently to coach athletes. And when you screw it up, that's supposed to be all right. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. So last I checked, in whatever profession you're in, if you get paid to do the job, you're a professional. So why is there some kind of segregation, if you will, between who's cutting the checks and how we get delineated as professional versus not? That makes absolutely no sense to me. And it actually is quite offensive.
Got it. We're on a whole complete different lane where we started that conversation, but that's okay because a lot was said and a lot was unreal.
It's what we do, choose what we do. It's what we do.
I know, right? So, all right, lane 2. Can Sid, A Thing, Britton, and Abby attack the world record from 1988, which was 3:15:17 next year? So again, it's different from what we just saw. Sid, A Thing, Britton, and Abby.
I'm going to steal Clyde's answer before he says it. It depends on the order.
Well, yes.
100%.
Yes.
Okay.
It absolutely depends on the order, but honestly, and this is totally by accident, that question comes back to what we were just talking about. Do those 4 women have the talent to take down that record? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
But it's going to be about what their careers look like moving forward.
Yes.
Right? Like Sid at 22 is the most established and the most successful right now. She's so bored with her primary event, she's going to go on to the next thing, right? So ain't nobody worried about Sid.
Right.
But what's Abby's life going to look like now moving forward as a pro, a rookie pro? Is Britton turning pro, or is she going back to Arkansas? A Thing seems to be solid and on the same type of track as Sid has been on, right? She's got back-to-back golds, world and Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
But is she going to be ready to be the low 48, high 47 girl that she probably needs to be for that record to go for a 4x4? That's not what she get paid to do, right?
Yeah.
So do they have the talent? Absolutely. But it's much more about what order they're going to run in and what the 2 youngest ones are looking like as rookies, because it's a totally different game next year for those 2.
So I like the question, but I feel like it pigeonholes us a little bit because there's an assumption made there. The assumption is that that's the best 4. And
Sure.
I'll say this.
You are terrible. Can those 4 people break the record? There's not an assumption of anything here. They want to know.
There is an assumption. The reason,
great Birmingham Lamar's opinion on whether these 4 beautiful people can break this record. And here you come walking around the block again.
Hey, we didn't put those names in there. That's the names that were thrown to
That's
us.
what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Lamar,
Lamar.
I'm gonna answer the question as it was
That
asked.
question.
Can those 4 women challenge the record? That's the question, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah,
Of
that's
course
the
they can
question.
challenge the record, 100%, because
Yes.
another group of people just ran 3:17. So of course they can challenge the record, no question about it. But look, this is America. We don't challenge shit. The question really needs to be,
right?
yes,
You only change one person.
yes, and maybe that's what I wanted to do in the first place. But
They have to do it because they already did it.
yes, but the question changes it back. all I'm saying is this. I don't think there's any doubt that they can challenge the record. But I will say this about this record, as I have about the men's 4x4. The difficulty is not in having the talent to do so. Because the team that has the record was chased to the line by another team that ran 3:15.
Yep.
Right? The difficulty you have in this is at this stage of the world landscape we live in, even if you put the right 4 and they run the right order, 2.5, almost 3 legs are going to have to do those things by their lonesome, like the men did.
Yes.
And that is incredibly difficult.
So this is why, like, I feel we are missing out on so many 30 for 30 classic shows. Like that men's 4x4, when you hear about what happened behind the scenes and the conversations they had amongst themselves to go out and do what they did. Those are the kind of conversations. The women's 4x1, when you hear about what happened prior to that, these are stories that have to be told. Like this current generation has to understand, like, it's deeper than just winning the gold. It's deeper than just like those 4. When you talk about those quartets, they had some real conversations and they had some real challenges, and it wasn't necessarily pretty. But the understanding was, are we going to do this or not? Are we going to go out there and do this or not? Okay.
Right.
And I would love for these stories to be told. I will say this, out of those 4, the question mark that I would have is, are we talking about Abby doing the same volume of work that she just did this year? Like that would be the only question mark I would have about this.
I think it's physically impossible for a female professional sprinter to run 57 races in a year.
Well, you're answering my question.
Like, I don't even think there's 57 races available.
Right.
Yeah, that won't happen. So,
Right.
see, I think the biggest concern is not, well, the 57 races, that won't happen. But the bigger concern is, can she run the 1, the 2, or the 2 in both relays?
Yes.
In the championship, and still produce the split. Because look, if you take the 4 that were there this year and they all run that they'd run at their best this year, they challenge it this year.
Yes, they do.
Because you get 6/10 on the leadoff leg, right? You get a full second. You get a full second on second leg and a full second on third. That's 2.5, and you're there.
Yeah.
True. And now you're just running in the breeze on anchor leg, just like
exactly, because she's gonna run 47 no matter what kind of league she has, right?
What are your thoughts,
46 real soon. I think how far I want to dig down this rabbit hole. Those 4 can for sure do it. I think missing the competition is actually the problem. Period. Sydney just went out there and split 47, and I was predicting she's going to go 46.9 and just add to her legend, just cause. And coming off the turn, I was like, yep, she's about to do it. But everyone else, the question about Abby, a professional season with her fitness level and her foundation that she showed, not having to run 57 races, I think she runs faster. Honestly, she just proven the fact. But I think they need the competition, which leads me to a tangential issue of, I think World Championships needs to be restructured. It is not the Olympics. And what is it, the WAF now? I think we changed the name of it. They need to change the qualification standards and the rules. Because honestly, the competition's there, it's just all in the same uniform. We could put 2 teams on the track and that record would go. That record would go. You put 2 American teams out there.
No.
Yeah, what? We literally left 4 girls on the side that can easily drive.
Wait, Sir Lucious, you don't think we could produce the world record and a 316, 317 team behind them? I do.
I don't know how you know what.
I think we
clearly y'all know something I don't know.
Okay, Mayor.
Well, put it this way: we had 3 iterations of that
who would the
relay
second
in 45
squad
minutes.
be? Who would team A
Oh my God, y'all gotta help me out with my, I'm old.
No, hold on a second. No. We can't help you out because you know for sure now.
Yeah.
No,
I want to hear this.
If you go come at me with this,
Delilah?
for sure.
Delilah,
Okay.
Talitha Diggs, Shamir, and somebody.
Okay, first of all, those 4 people cannot beat those 4 people.
I didn't
who
say
just
beat
ran
them.
No,
who
we
just-
said
they can't beat
hold on a
them.
second. Okay, it's like, and they ain't gonna push them to 315 either.
Why
Because,
not?
gotta be close
okay,
enough.
hold on a second. So we talk about Delilah from now or Delilah from 2 years ago?
Delilah healthy,
Well,
right?
everything is in the ether, so Delilah.
Okay, exactly.
Delilah.
So you got to give me real stuff, right? The current
I feel like I just
version
gave
of
you 3
Delilah.
real names, brother. I thought I gave you 3 real names.
You're trying to explain it away.
Okay, I'm not trying to explain anything away. I just
Okay,
happen
wait,
to
all right,
disagree
wait,
that current crew. Okay, I will give you guys this. If they all show up in absolute peak form, okay, yeah.
At Worlds, yeah, ready
If-
to go.
So wait, since we're way
Big
down the
little word.
hypothetical rabbit hole right now, Sir Lucious,
Oh, here we go.
Sir
Here we
Lucious,
go.
Here we go.
Here we go.
50
Here we go.
point, 50 point across the board is 320.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
49
Great
across
math.
49 across the board is 316.
316.
You're telling me that the B team, we don't have 4 women that can give us 49 point splits? Of course we do.
We didn't have a female in the freaking final of the 400.
But all
we've
but
proven that didn't matter.
But wait a minute. But we know Talitha can run 49. She's done it.
Oh, sorry. 4th name is Kendall Ellis.
Kendall for sure has proven she could do that. Waddle and Jonathan has done that.
Oh boy.
Raven Rogers.
Raven
Wow.
Rogers.
You know,
is
I am
that.
going to plead what we call it, the 5th or something.
It's the 5th.
Because y'all are not going to make me dive down this rabbit hole. Because
But it
I'm not
wasn't a
doing
deep
it.
rabbit hole.
Okay,
You
okay,
just said-
first of all,
listen,
okay,
okay,
no,
back it
the
up,
rabbit
Lucious.
hole is incredibly deep because those are the same people. You talk about people who didn't make the team. And it only took
hold on.
50.5 to make the team.
But wait a
We're
minute.
talking
But
about
sir,
competition on the 4x4.
Right,
You
it's just-
ask for another team to
Right.
put
Okay, hold on a
competition to
second.
try
Okay,
to
so
push
look, I want to say this before I become a meme. They pushed me here. They pushed me here. I was trying to be good. I tried to plead the 5th. Okay. Did you not watch Kendall Ellis run 52.6? Where is she
Oh
ran?
boy.
I
Oh
did.
boy.
yeah.
Did you not watch Lena Irby run 51 seconds?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I just watched Waddle and Johnson's walk off the track the other day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sir, all I
We're grasping at
the
straws.
the mayor can speak for himself. All I'm saying is this. Last I checked, the silver medal position at this world championship was higher than 320.
I don't like you.
It was higher than 320.
I don't like you.
So
I only deal with you because you're Kai's dad.
So
we have
I
a B
love me some
team
Kai. I can't
that
stand
can
I love
be
his
in
mama.
the
and I can't
silver
stand
medal
his daddy
position.
'cause he's all I'm saying. Hold on a
Hey,
second,
Lucius,
okay,
I was
see.
trying to
So-
work with you, but
So that-
the
I know,
math
right?
was funny,
100%.
bro.
I know,
We
right?
have the
So
two
here's
best
here's
4x4s.
Here's the thing, right? The question was not, do we have the 2 best 4x4s? Because one puts the other one to the world record. But
Better
see, Clyde being,
competition.
with Clyde being Clyde, does what Clyde does
That's what
and
Clyde
made it
does.
right for Clyde.
Hey,
Right.
we can
So
you've
we
never
can call
dealt with
Allison.
Clyde
We can
together.
call
That's what
Allison
the
on the
problem
phone and get her
Oh,
to roll out for
trust
the
me,
B
I-
team.
Okay. While we're at it, right? While we're at it, just
Okay, here we go.
So I want to say one thing about one of the key people involved in this, right? We all know that shoe companies tend to give sprinters big money to run the 100, right? So here's what I'm going to say. The expectation is going to be that Abby attempts to make every team in the 100 and the 200. Would we agree?
Okay.
Like, I don't think they paid her $700,000 to be a 200 specialist who runs both relays.
Right.
But let's be clear. That's what her career should be. She should be a 200-meter specialist who runs on both relays, Allison Felix, because the only other human being to do what we're now, quote unquote, asking Abby to do was Flojo in 88. 100, 200, 4x1, 4x4. And we're
You
not
wanna-
going to
you
go
wanna
down that
throw-
rabbit
do-
hole.
Do you want to throw Marion in there? Do you want to?
Oh,
No.
please.
No,
Oh God,
no,
Please.
oh God.
no,
God.
Marion
Lucious,
didn't do
Clyde
that.
behave.
Marion
Clyde behave.
didn't do that at the Olympics.
I'm not here for that.
We're
None of
not.
us
That's what I'm
are.
saying. We're not going to throw slander, but that just further proves my point, right? That like literally what we're asking for is Herculean or Herculean,
Yes, it is.
right? And
Yes.
I would just say that I don't think that that's a thing, right? And let's be clear, and Sir Lucious and I, we've done deep dives into this and talked about this. The Europeans control our sport and they manipulate what they can manipulate to level the playing field as much as they can. It was
Makes
not
sense.
coincidental that the 800 was an hour and 25 minutes or whatever before the 4x4. Okay, so let's not lean real heavy into the thing on the split thing either, because that schedule's probably not changing for the better for us either.
Okay, so and I totally agree with that, and I thank you for saying that. And I want to say this, and I mean this. Like, I understand where you guys are going. If everybody shows up in peak condition at their absolute best and they're capable of doing, we have two teams that can run 315. You're right.
Yes.
But I am going to put a challenge out there and include myself within this challenge. Ladies and gentlemen, in the United States of America, we must do better with the women's 400 because we
Amen.
are not good right now.
Amen.
We must do better,
That's true.
much better.
Agreed.
Yep.
Agreed.
Please.
Definitely.
And thank
Hey, but you know what? I will say this. So far, I mean, look, the American men had the worst speed and power Olympics they've ever had a year ago, and we've rebounded to have the best world championships we've ever had, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I guess maybe I'll say that there's hope, right? That they will take your challenge and the overall global challenge. Like, we got to go home and get right because we didn't win a medal in the women's 100 or the 200 or the 400 or the 100 hurdles.
Well, listen, the most interesting thing about the debate that we actually had is that the women who were thrown to us for this question, not one of them is a 400-meter run. So right, the idea that that's the question just makes Lucious's point. So
Exactly.
yes,
100%.
Or
Because be clear, the B team isn't all quarter milers either.
No.
right.
No.
The B
There's
team,
only
the
one.
B
There's only
team
one.
right? It only has one of them on there. So
Hey, it is what it is right now.
So we're saying that
again leads to what
the-
I'm saying. It's like, there's a lot of talent out there. We're just not getting it done. Go ahead, Mayor. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, so the women sprinters have now run into what the men sprinters went through a few cycles back. Some of y'all need to be running the 4 while y'all out here trying to chase a fairy tale. I'm gonna run 100.
There's only one Fred Curley. Some of y'all know.
I used to tell a lot of young women this fact. If you find a sub 50 quarter miler, they're also sub 11 and sub 22. It's historic, more so than the men. That's why the men is such a big deal right now, because it's a new thing. Women need to pay attention. When Torrance would randomly jump into a 4 out of the blocks in the middle of her season and drop 49.7 and walk off, and that's when 49.7 was smoking fast. And then she turned around and ran 21.7 and 10.8.
And didn't she lead off the U.S. relay in 48.8 one year?
I believe so. 92.
It was the same. It was the same year that Michael split 42.9.
91. Yep.
Yeah. Same year.
So yeah, some of y'all need to go ahead, suck it up, move on up, get your money. You want to
Moving
get your
on
money?
up.
Run some other events.
But if you're gonna move up, be coached by an appropriate human.
Hogwash.
all right.
Just kidding.
Next BLC.
Lane
Oh,
3.
Lane 3. With the addition of the mixed 4x4, which we know is going to stay, which one individual event, track, and then field, would you lose from the typical schedule? So none of this mythical events.
Say that
Wait.
again, please.
So one track event, one field event. Which
we
you
would do away
draw
with
the addition of the mixed 4x4?
To keep the mixed 4x4?
Yeah.
Like, I love this question, but I'm appalled.
So,
I'm
Mayor,
appalled
the
that we
question
still have to
is,
swallow
the
the
mixed
mixed.
I got it.
4x4 is here to stay.
What we dropping?
What do you move out of the schedule now that the mixed 4x4 is here to stay?
Yeah.
Men and women.
50K race walk done.
I mean,
That's why I said the typical.
I was kidding because I know you
On the
weren't
track,
including that.
on the, like, actually in the arena.
Track
Right?
and field.
What?
I got you. So
I
we
hate
can't.
the-
The
I hate the
walks
premise
don't
of the
go and the
question.
marathons don't go.
Yeah,
I got
yeah,
educated.
let me say this. First of all, you have to pick the same event for gender
Mhm.
Yeah.
equity,
Yes.
screaming event, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Second of all, I'm not choosing anything. Like, I don't know why we have to do subtraction because we added something, right?
Right.
And then, so look, that's just me. I'm not subtracting anything. And anybody you even open your mouth and say you're going to take out, it's going to be absolutely appalled at the idea.
Lucious
I got
gonna
one
come
for
through
you.
and just start punching people.
I'm
I actually have an
gonna pick
educated
up.
answer. Go ahead.
I'm gonna pick up that baton and run the backstretch, and I'll say this: there is literally nothing wrong with track and field other than the way that it's packaged. Because I can just tell you this right now: if you come to Europe and watch a track meet on Eurosport, and then literally like take 30 minutes, clear your brain, right? Like make it like ginger, you clean your palate, and then watch any iteration of track and field serviced to us in the United States, you're like, that's not the same sport.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. So at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with the sport. It's not even too time consuming. It's just packaged terribly and lazily in this country. Right. Like the 3-ring circus is what makes the sport awesome. Right.
Yeah.
But we were all sitting in the stadium at Worlds trying to figure out why we had such big time gaps.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean,
and this is the other part, Lamar. Like it's rhythm. Like, get some sort of rhythm. And as you said, to pile on to what you just said, if you do have the pleasure of watching a meet in Europe on TV, it is moving. As soon as the event's over, there is no break. It is on to the next, and you are enjoying the meet. You are in it. Your heart rate is here. It never really comes down because
they show you the whole 5K without showing you the whole 5K.
Yes.
They show you the beginning. They show you the intricate moves in the middle, and they show you the last 2 laps. You saw the whole thing.
And then you're watching the jumps and the vault, and you're watching the throws, and all this stuff is happening. So they're basically recreating what you see when you're in the stands, right? On TV. We still have not figured that out on this part of this side of the water. We just haven't.
I don't think that it's even I don't think it's even that we haven't figured it out. I just don't think we care to. And this, the existence of this question, again, is offensive. And I really, really, really loathe the people that say things like this who are inside our sport. Because there are coaches that believe event X, Y, and Z should be cut. There are administrators who believe that. There are writers who never pay attention to our sport until there's an Olympics or a world championship, and then come with these opinions like, oh, it'd be so much cooler if you took out the 10K or whatever the hell you want to take out. There is no event that doesn't have a purpose. I don't like the mixed relay, but when they invented it, I said it's a cool gimmick that people will find entertaining. The only thing that's currently wrong with the mixed relay is you took out the coolest thing about it, which was strategy.
Mm-hmm.
When it first came in, the coaches, and we all know we got issues with coaches, got to choose man, woman, whatever leg you want, go figure it out. That was really interesting. The fact that they've watered it down and said, nope, the men are going to run against the men and the women are going to run against the women, make it less interesting. But I digress.
Much less.
But I digress. There's no event that needs to go. The media people and the entertainment people, the people who get paid to do entertainment business in this nation need to do a better job of the package. That's absolutely true. The only criticism that I have from my experience as a spectator at Worlds was the downtime. And here's the crazy thing about the downtime. Everybody that talks this nonsense about the time consumption of our sport from a viewing standpoint, what do they all say? We need a 2-hour package. Well, shit. Every evening session was exactly that. It was 2 hours. And guess what? I was sitting around in between events way too long, waiting on the next thing to happen. The DJ was cute and all, but no. Like,
so here's a question for you, Clyde, and Sir Lucious and Lamar and Big League and Mayor. All of you were there, right?
Mhm.
Could the meet have been done in 6 days?
100% it could have been.
Yes.
100%.
And would it have been as much of a strain on the athletes, or would it have been okay? Do you think the schedule could have been condensed, more morning sessions, or how could you have made the actual event less than 10 days?
Oh, easy work. First of all, I mean, there was no excuse, and it was actually detrimental on all of us coached. The 400 men. I know somebody in a room felt really, really good about those rest days. Coaches and athletes did not feel really, really good about running a race, sitting around for 2 days, running another race, sit around for another day, and run another race. There's a reason why the 4x4s, or at least on the men's side, for the quarter milers, actually looked like better runs for them, because they finally got to establish a rhythm. And you said that earlier, Governor. They got to establish a rhythm. Do you want to run them ragged into the ground? No. You don't want to do what we did years ago, and I'll never forget Alan told me this. They took, back when we ran 4 rounds, they took the highs and ran 1 round a day, 4 straight days.
Yes.
And I remember first
Yes,
seeing
they
it
did.
going, oh, finally some rest. And Alan said, this is terrible. And I said to him, I said, why is it terrible? He said, bruh, I got 4 races in 4 days. He had to say, like, it was like say less, as we say today. But to your point about the scheduling, of course, we have to stop it for, Clyde, your point about the 2-hour package in the evenings, and World Championships have been making this mistake for years. The problem, we got 2 hours, and I remember going to, this is Olympics and World the same way. It was 4 races and 1 final.
Yeah.
What are we doing? And then you think to yourself, we all want to make money. We all want to up the ante in the sport. So we're like, okay, TV's dictating this, that's cool. But then you go and watch a TV package, and in between races, they're not showing you the triple jump, the long jump, the discus, the high jump. They're going to commercials. They're showing you, hey, let's go talk to Sir Lucious back in Gainesville, which we actually filmed back in January, and show this puff piece for 20 minutes and go back to commercial. And then they want to tease you, oh, and Chris Hubbins is going to run the 1500 to end the decathlon. Well, he's actually throwing a javelin right now. You going to show that?
Yeah.
But you don't.
Yeah.
So it does definitely come down to packaging, because we've all been, the Crystal Palace is the best produced television meet I've ever seen in my life. I managed to watch a meet for 2 hours. I got to watch El Garouche challenge the world record. And at the same time, in this 2-hour window, they actually told the public what the long jump was in a real quick segment from the field with a field reporter. So it is definitely packaging and presentation and downtimes. You can have the downtime for TV. We want to get
How much time was there between the rounds? Like,
bro.
I can tell you, it was 8 minutes.
8
I know
minutes.
this, yes, it was 8 minutes, because all of the call room times were spread out by exactly 8 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's actually shorter. It used to be, it was 10 for years. It was 10 for years.
I mean, you know, there was a lot of downtime. Like, the question that the governor threw out there was, what would be the effects if you shut it, close it to 6 days? Well, some people would have to make some different choices. And that's all in the game, right? Like, maybe you can't do the 1-2 double if the whole meet start to finish is 6 days. And that it is what it is, right? But that's why you make choices. That's why you're a professional. That's why you gotta coach the way you coach. The most egregious stretch that they did, which is what Darrell was just alluding to, was the 400-meter thing. And why did they do that? to make
Mixed relay.
the mixed relay could get
100%.
the better people on the track for the
Right.
other countries not named
Right.
Team USA. And it worked. I mean, listen, they even structured the rules. In the real 4x4, you can run 4 women in the prelim and bring 4 new girls out for the final. But in the
Yes.
mixed relay, you have to keep 3 of the 4 from the qualifying round. All
Right.
that is about is getting Paulino and Bowl on the
Yes.
track to run down the C Team Americans, right? Like that's what it's for. And that's fine. But they screwed up the Open 4. The Open 4 men and the Open 4 women were lackluster finals runs. They were the lamest races in the meet.
Because some of those individuals ran 6 races then.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I mean, look, if the meet was 7 days, you could do the 1-2 double with a day off in the middle.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you could do it.
That's what they did anyway. They only gave him a day off anyway.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So like,
That's how it always
I mean,
was.
and you know, a gas. Oh my God. What 13 or 14 iterations of the A-Team World Championships were done with 4 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And don't get me started on the Olympic schedule, which had finals in the morning sessions.
Yeah.
I don't want to see the finals in the morning sessions. That's ridiculous.
There
Two-
were a
that's-
couple
that's
finals
two
in the morning
Olympics. That's-
session at Worlds. There were a couple finals in Worlds in the morning.
Not nearly as many as the Olympics.
No,
But
but
the
I mean,
finals were
they're
in-
going to
in
do
the
that.
but they were
10K.
distance. They were distance events in finals in the morning, right? No sprint
Yeah.
or
I mean,
power events.
They still,
Yeah,
they
right.
still
And
count, though, right?
that you know, the distance runners love that. They need cooler time. I
Yeah,
get all
that
That's
was
fine.
done for the weather purposes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. But
Yeah.
I don't want to watch the hurdle final in the morning.
No.
Okay, no, I'm not with that.
All right.
True.
I know. All right. In keeping time, I'm going to move us on to Would You Rather. And it's something we're coming back to because we've taken a couple of weeks off. But Sir Lucious, you're up, sir. I was like, I hope his face changes because he's it.
See, so Mayor, I just want to warn you. Whenever I'm on this, I get the most suspect questions in the history of man.
I
don't
think
know
there's
why.
only one.
And see,
She knows in advance
which
there's
means,
one.
which means there's 3, right? So I thought Bigley was my girl until she started doing this stuff.
Oh, there might be a second one. I think I had to take
So-
it out.
I know.
Uh-oh, here it
I'm
goes.
taking it out.
No,
It's
don't
already
take it
deleted.
out. Don't
No,
take
Oh
it
no,
out.
it's deleted. It's definitely not
You
what I can say out
absolutely
loud.
cannot send it to us in a text. One of us will ask it.
All right. Sir Lucius, are you ready, sir?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
All right. Would you rather team up with Batman or Superman?
Oh, Superman.
Would you rather be chronically overdressed or underdressed?
Under.
Would you rather lose your AC or lose your internet for the rest of your life?
Internet. I deplore being hot. So no. I'm gonna rock with the AC, baby. I want my AC.
He'll,
I just-
he'll buy a
I
billion.
just want to say for the record,
pigeons.
this man has lived in Florida for like 50 years.
Right.
I am rocking with my AC. I'm not giving that up. Nope.
Would you like your Gatorade dump, like your celebratory dump, be substituted with maple syrup or chocolate sauce?
Oh my God.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
jeez. Dude, you see what I'm saying?
Is
That was
is
it.
the
That was
borderline?
the
Is that the
suspect
borderline
question.
There it
inappropriate?
is.
Oh, we.
There it is.
Really, Bigley?
You're getting hosed down either way.
Which one was it again? This is
Maple
terrifying.
maple syrup or chocolate sauce?
Oh God.
The chocolate sauce, I think, will come off easier. It won't be as sticky. Probably.
That was my thought process.
Definitely my thought process on that.
Would you rather always be 10 minutes late or 20 minutes early?
20 minutes early.
Mm,
That's easy.
Would you rather always drive in reverse or ride a scooter everywhere?
Ride a scooter everywhere. Look, you do not want me driving anywhere backwards.
Lucius on the
Yeah.
scooter. I'm kind of here for Lucius on the scooter. I would
Right.
have
And look,
him.
if those are the choices,
Absolutely.
you would much rather, and you're much safer with Lucius on the scooter than Lucius driving back. I can probably do that.
Oh, With my last one, would you rather not be able to hide your facial reactions or hold your tongue?
Ooh,
I know.
not be able to hold my. Say that again now.
So would you rather not be able to hold your facial react or hide your facial reactions or not be able to hold your tongue? So either way it's coming out, which one is coming out first? Or
Well, see, like for
always?
me, those are one and the same, kind of, aren't they?
They go together.
You don't,
They
which
kinda
would you
lock
do
together.
anyway?
Exactly. Yeah. So
Yes.
I'm gonna just, for the sake of answering the question, say hide my facial expression. Yeah.
Got it. All right, gentlemen, the floor is yours.
I'm waiting on the other question to be sent in the chat.
Whoops.
Oh my God.
The setup. You might as well ask it now.
No. I can't ask it.
Okay, Sir Lucius,
Yes, sir.
would you rather coach an athlete that won 3 world championships and never medaled in any Olympics, or an athlete that medaled in 2 Olympics? No, that's too easy. Medaled in 1 Olympics and never made the final in any world championships.
The latter. The latter.
Mm.
The Olympic medal is more
Yeah, 100%.
prestigious. Yeah.
So in other words, you'd rather coach Elaine. It's literally
No,
just,
because there's some bigger ones. I mean, like
bigger
Greg
than
Foster had
Elaine.
one of the
Went back to
Greg
back.
Foster had one of the greatest careers ever, right? But never,
True.
you know, he won world championships like 6 times, but he
First
could
3 in a
never win the
row.
Olympics.
And then there's Boca.
you have to
And then there's
remind
Boca.
Oh, that's
people
right.
that that Greg is actually part of the conversation about
Yeah,
gold hurdler.
yeah.
Because
Yep.
he never did anything at the Olympics.
I mean, Tomas Dvorak won 3 world championships, broke the world record, and never won an Olympics. And it's like people forget like how great he was. It's like, that guy's in the conversation.
It's true. That is actually true.
All right.
I don't want to be mean to Sir Lucius. But I feel like Lamar wants me to ask him this question.
Oh, I do. I don't even know what it is, but I definitely want you to.
Would you rather be responsible for the American record at 200 meters or the world record in the 110 hurdles? It's not like you can't get both.
Well, that's my answer. Both.
Yes, we know that.
I will put them in order of likely to happen. Clearly I'm closer to the world. We are closer to the world record in the 110s. So I think that would be my first responsibility, is to get that, with putting the other one on deck. Is that fair?
It's fair. It's about as fair of an answer as I thought you'd give.
Okay. And Mayor, you're allowed to chime in on this, by the way.
Yeah,
y'all making me.
Because
y'all making me
the
think.
governor's got that look in his eye. He's up to something. He's up to something.
I'm not. I didn't have. to
Can't think of
prepare for this.
anything,
Go
Mayor?
ahead. Nah, go ahead, Governor.
I'm still trying to I'm drawing a blank right now. I'm actually drawing a blank. I don't have one that would be like sufficient.
Ask that thing in the chat because I don't even fully understand it.
Ask it?
No.
Ask it.
Okay, would you rather your blessings to be verbal or tangible?
Wow.
Oh,
Wow.
that's not a bad question at all.
Right, that's a great
Wow.
question.
Oh.
Oh, I thought it would get spun. So.
I mean, I don't understand the.
Shoot mine in the gutter. That's all that is.
Yes.
Oh
Yes,
wow!
it is.
I don't know how you put that in the gutter, but
I don't either, but that's it.
Look at her
yeah.
face. She knows.
Yeah. See, that's a young people thing. I don't get that one, but anyway. So, for me, I think that's a tough one, because verbal, I'm not even sure what a verbal blessing is, to be honest with you. And tangible blessings. I mean, I'm not a materialistic guy. I'm more of, my blessings come from me watching others prosper from things that I'm able to contribute to. So I don't know if that's verbal or tangible for others, but that's not either for me. So tangible thing, I tell people this all the time, like, you don't attach your sense to yourself to tangible material things, because those things can go away. If I lose a car, I mean, if I something happens to my car or a house or something like that, you can go get another one of those. But the blessings that are the people in your lives, and the way they touch you or you touch them, those are things, and maybe those are the tangible things you're talking about. You can't replace those things. So that wasn't a bad question at all, by the way, too.
No,
That
not
other
at
one
all.
was much more suspect.
Yeah, I was like,
I'm with
could have
Lucious. I
booted
don't
the
know how I like
There was
it.
chocolate
two.
and syrup.
Right.
Yeah.
That was actually a thoughtful question. I got
That
one.
was-
It was, yeah.
I got a clean
Okay.
one, a simple one. Would you
Okay.
rather coach a career track and field athlete ranked in the top 10 for 15 years, never win a medal, or a one-hit wonder?
Oh, the career
Good.
athlete. The career
good.
athlete. Because the one hit wonder, as soon as you call someone a one hit wonder, that means that there's some issues surrounding that. So
You gonna get blamed for that one.
Exactly.
Well, okay.
And,
So let's not make him dodgy. Let's make it that somebody who's always hurt, right? Like not like there's no drug allegations. There's somebody just you can't get right. They're always hurt, but finally one year you get it right and they kill everybody.
You gonna get blamed for that one too.
my thing with the one hit wonder is not. I'm not talking about the drug allegations. I'm talking about the one hit wonder is usually the person who has the issues of distractions. The person that has the issues of
You ain't
I
get
did
right.
this once,
You ain't get
exactly.
right.
And I've dealt with these people, right? We go have a good year, and then hey, you can't coach. Hey, I need to try something else. I need all that stuff, and then they're back on my doorstep 3 years later. But anyway, that's a different story. I won't go there. But at the end of the day, I want nothing to do with the one hit wonder. Yeah, we all have those, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, Governor, I appreciate you asking choose not so shady question, because she should have clearly put that other question in there, because that was ooh.
Thank you, Chu. Sort of. Yeah. Appreciate it.
I want to ask not a would you rather question. I just want to ask a real question. What, and this is not a shot at the two people who currently have the job. I promise you it is. What would it take for you to agree to be the official, like, nobody bothers you, U.S. relay coach?
Well, I mean, there it is. Nobody bothers me. I mean, that's all. I mean, see, here's the thing with me with the relay thing, right? I'm not going to work well with a relay because I know what the 14th to 15th letters of the alphabet are, and I know how to use them, right? And so, therefore, people don't want me in that position because they can't call me and bully me. They can't call me and threaten me, because I'm the guy that says, hey, if you don't want to follow the rules, then your guy can't run the relay, or your girl can't run the relay.
Oh,
Because at the end of the day, when you stop and think about it, like, that's the problem. We allow coaches and agents to 100%. Hold people hostage, right? And I'm not going to be held hostage. It's just that simple.
Like, I just
you like my 14, 15 reference there, cousin? You like that?
I am entertained right now. Lamar, can I chime in?
Yeah, please.
Listen,
please.
I think Sir Lucious hit on something dead. There's no other answer for everybody that thinks they figured this thing out. Listen, I've lived this thing. I've been through this thing. The most successful relay coaches in this country's history have always been decision makers. If you try to please people, you will fail. And it's been proven too many times. And I know two coaches who made very unpopular decisions, and my group was on the wrong side of one of them. And that coach made me laugh. He literally came out, told us to our face what his decision was, told us to our face why he made the decision, grabbed a chair, walked down the field, sat it under the goalpost. This is in Sydney, Lamar. Sat it under the soccer goal and sat in a chair. And his point was real simple. If you disagree, come talk to me, but I doubt I'm changing my mind. And we won the goal, and the rest was history. The other coach, we all know and love. And he made his decisions. He didn't care how you felt, what you had to say. And he won the gold medal every year he was in charge. They had to create ways to get him out of the spot. And what Sir Lucious said is really simple. And I know people sitting home going, you don't understand. Of course I understand. Are you kidding me? You're in charge of a bunch of different moving parts that you don't have. They're not your athletes. So you got to make the clean decisions and you move forward. Win, lose, or draw. And that's the problem, I think, to Lucious, to your answer too. People forget in track. Yeah, there's pressure to win, but you got to make your decisions win, lose, or draw. And live with them.
Yeah. I think it's wild that there was so much drama like in the end, because at the end of the day, like, listen, we all got to give, I'm assuming it was Michelle's decision, but like, look, every single one of us questioned, maybe not question like this is wrong, but we all questioned Jenna Prandini running third leg and there only being one third leg in the whole damn camp. We all questioned that, right? But at the end of the day, history will show for sure it was a genius move, because we don't get out of the semis if Jenna Prandini doesn't grab that young lady's hand and put the baton in.
Right.
And that's why she was on the relay, right? Because she sat.
No. That's not why she was on the relay. That's why she needed to be on the relay, but that's not. There's no world where that's why she needed to be.
No, that's why she.
That's a
needed
different
to be.
statement. And look, I am one of those. We all questioned that decision, but again, brilliant move.
100%. And I guess I feel like it's like, look, if you can make that kind of decision, which clearly wasn't popular in every camp, right? Like, get all the information, make a decision, and stand by it, and then you'll be fine. Then you'll be fine.
And you guys would be unpleasantly surprised that there are more shenanigans involved with the 4x4 than there are with the 4x1.
Yes.
Well, but you know what's funny? Of course there is, right? Because America is entitled to those 2 gold medals.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to make sure that mine is on there, because that's going to give me a medal, and that adds to my medal count. And because we can't mess this up, right? Like, I mean, we almost won the mixed relay with, as Clyde calls it, the C team. So like, we've already discussed on this show that we got the A team and the B team in the world. So at the end of the day, like, it don't matter which 4 are on the track, we're going to win. So there's going to be right. But I'm saying the men's and women's 4x4s, there's always going to be shenanigans there, because that's it. Look, that's the way you collect a medal, right? That's how you create gold medalists.
Yeah.
Well, it probably just sparked another conversation for another time, but we'll leave that for the next episodes. So, again, sake of time, gentlemen, thank you so much. The mayor, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for playing with us. Hope you enjoyed our sandbox.
All the time. These are my guys. So
love it. Love it. Well,
always good to chat with you, cousin.
Yes.
For sure, man.
Hope everyone has a good time. Gentlemen on other continents, be safe. Make sure to get home safe. But otherwise, we'll see you soon. Bye, everyone.
When the lights come on, the road just get to running. When the lights come on, opponents smash the plumbing. Heard you like it warm, hot knife the butter. Truth hit them hard, knock them off that rebuttal. Tsunami, tidal wave to your puddle. Tough love, punch you in the arms, little brothers. Athletics, double LLC, there's no others. Track and field's place and we'll peel to go further. Hey, Wally, Coyote, it's road runners. Feels like you know us, you've been with us the whole summer. If not for this quarantine, these 4 corners wouldn't be here, but we here, so start learning. You gotta earn your stripes, gotta get your scars. Show you how to fight, but show us who you are. You lack experience, but still you wanna talk. And who is actually talking to you? Circle's kinda small. Heads prevail when the backbone's strong. Gotta keep it coming, no, it won't last long. Past pass or fail, then sell the sad song. And if you don't check yourself, then that's wrong. Just trying to give you the real that you asked for. So why you keep cutting us off to ask more? We put it in slow-mo, but you fast forward. Athletics LLC, the task force.